Hi, welcome back to My Life with Plants. I'm Newman, and actually this morning at 7 o'clock it was 1 degree, so it's almost zero, and that was time to cover up the dendrobium kingianums, which you'll see here. This one's got burlap around it. We've got all sorts of cloth, and they are just going to stay like that. Let me move this out of the way quickly so we can see what's going on. Right. Okay. So you can see this one has the top open. The burlap won't be too hot during the day. This one I just take off that part. So I can't keep taking it on and off. There we go. This one I just flip it over so that it doesn't get too hot in there during the day. Same with this one. This is a gracilis. It's got to be practical, easy to manage every day. So this one actually has a silver, we call it insulation wrap that you buy at the Daiso shop. Insulate things. So this is how they're gonna be. These kingianums will be like that for the winter. Actually, that one needs one more peg, so I'll do that. When it gets another few degrees lower, we'll be into minus. But this is cold enough that frost is setting in. These are nobiles, and they're not going to get covered. Believe it or not, they take down to -5. And you can see here that every other day the sun shines. So it comes out to break the cycle of cold. So I'm going to pick up some more burlap, and so this burlap is pretty good stuff because it does insulate against cold, or the frost also lets the air in. So it's not like the plant's going to get too hot. Okay, so that's the update for the kingianums and this dendrobium speciosum gracilis. You can see here these Orchids have a tray, and it's got the insulation in it that's thin. It has some insulation inside two lids, one lid inside the other. It is a real pain in the butt to put on. You can have a peeky inside how healthy these Orchids are. All in there. There's even an ala Orchioides, and they hang out with this amount of cover. I had to work it out the hard way, because if I didn't have enough, I'd have some kind of cold damage. And every day I gotta prop it up a little bit, otherwise with the sun coming in they can cook. Just by propping it up enough like that, it lets the air in so they don't get too hot. And plus We are in semi shade here. For the indoor plants, I just did the same thing. Nothing special here. I just got that insulation and I folded it so that it's gone against the window, and it insulates these indoor plants just enough. Give them a microclimate there. I can't go too far up, I'll start blocking out the light, but that's just enough to protect, give them a little extra warmth, maybe 2 degrees, which is enough, because indoors here behind the glass it'll get down to about 10 degrees during the coldest time of the winter, and that's no big deal. But this insulation will just help a little bit with more sensitive plants like this Dracaena here, and maybe this Miltonia. The Miltonia won't mind. Same here. Got some bubble wrap that I just put against the window to help these jewel plants, which are looking much better these days since planting it into a earthy soil rather than sphagnum. Okay, I must say that my Letterboria socialis has never looked better. It's forming a huge clump with all these beautiful leaves coming off it. So there are a lot of plants that look like orchids. And orchids are ultimately in the lily family. They've just branched out into Orchidaceae. And so lilies have a lot of traits with orchids. They can deceive you and make you think that they're orchids, and this is one of them. Letterboria has flowers on long inflorescences like racemes, and all along the flowering stems are little tiny bells that hang off that you could mistaken for orchids. Yes, anyway, that's the update for preparing against the cold, and you can see here that once it gets down to 0, this will be draped over this Phalaenopsis, because that'll be too cold for it. Although they got it hanging sideways so it's not touching the glass, but this cloth will be draped over it pretty soon. We're nearly down to those temperatures already. Alright, thanks for watching, and there'll be more updates, especially with the native orchids in the garden. We'll see how those are going. Until next time, see you. One little bit more of an update while we're talking about cold. You can see here that this Cattleya beringiana is putting out this new growth there, and you can see all the new roots, those green ones. And it does this every year in winter. Only winter time it will push out the beginning of a new cane, and that will start swelling at the bottom, and these roots have just started. There's going to be many more of them, and they're going to consume the whole pot, as did these ones, and it's winter. This Cattleya vericala ex sib has fattened all its bulbs up. This Cattleya, jumbo Cattleya, has split its sheath. So the flower is going to come out. Down there is the Lycast. It's kind of twisted a bit in there. just move this a little bit. Right. This one's still bring it a bit closer. You see its new bulb there. Well, that had all the leaves to begin with. Pushes out all the leaves first before it starts swelling up its bulb. But it wants water because it has caught up on stuff here. It has these roots. You can see one traveling over there. They're kind of hairy. They remind me of collagenous roots. This thing wants water. Plenty of it. And it's winter. Doesn't want any. It doesn't want to dry out at all. Cattleyas don't sleep either. This is a new cane coming up, and it'll do a better job producing this cane over the winter. And so this Vanda here is what I would call a hot growing orchid, because it does grow during the summer, as does this one and this one as well. And I water it on and off, but mainly keep it dry. It dries out pretty fast, by the way, because of the low humidity. This Cattleya, mini Cattleya here, is still putting out new growth. You can see there, and it does shrivel up and dry. It gets pretty shrivelly in the leaves, which tells me it needs watering. And I go ahead and give it a good water. The Nemba polybourbon is pushing out lots and lots of new growth and roots. Okay, so why am I showing this as part of my winter care? Because when you look online with the information with a lot of these orchids, it says hot, it'll either say cold to warm grower or warm to hot grower. But you got to be careful about what hot means. I mean, if you come from a cool climate and you go to some of these jungles and you take notes and records and stuff, and then you make journals about growing orchids, you're going to say that that's hot according to where you come from in the world. But you can see that these particular orchids I'm showing you are putting out growth during the winter, and it is about a max of 15 degrees, and it'll get up to about 22, 23 degrees during the day. And these plants are pushing out growth, and they actually look better and grow better than they do during the summer. And by the way, I live in an area of Japan that's 20 meters above sea level. So it's pretty low altitude, and a lot of these don't come from such low altitude. They actually come from 150, 500. Usually it starts at about 500 meters. And that description of warm to hot, the hot can be 32, 33 degrees, definitely not over 35 degrees. And they are usually underneath shrubs, well protected from the sunshine. They're not always exposed. The ones that are exposed have a harder time growing. The ones that have protection from mother plants, shrubs, or if they're on trees, they definitely are cooler. And it all shows, doesn't it? when I show you how these plants are growing, when you would think that they would be growing during the summertime. During the summertime, they're starting to go almost into a dormancy because they just don't like the heat anymore. However, they do their best to finish off growing off a cane if they have started it, like the Boehringiana. It'll continue growing it, but it'll definitely slow right down. And a lot of these other plants actually benefit a lot from the cooler seasons, where they can fatten up, store up energy. So don't stress them out too much by underwatering them. If you see growth, continue watering as usual. You're not doing the wrong thing, unless it's a nobile. And my nobiles are outside, and as I said before, it's just 1 degree, so they don't need much water at all. They just put buds on, and then they just slow right down their growth, and they go into winter mode. However, those orchids would be treated different if you were living in a much warmer climate. So if I had them inside here, like I did the last few years, they actually shriveled too much because it was warmer in here, see, so I had to keep watering them. But it had an adverse effect on their flowers, and some of them didn't flower at all. However, they were pushing out new growth and they kept growing, but they require a much colder winter. So I'm just going with Mother Nature there. But these are the ones come from tropical places, but that doesn't mean that they grow in the hottest of areas. They actually escape by starting their natural life as an orchid by growing up higher altitude to get away from the scorching heat, where there's a lot more moisture available and it's cooler. However, when the winter comes, it doesn't get that cold either, right? The store keeps warm, and you can have some cold, but not freezing. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. Thought it might be helpful. And yes, I do have Phylogeny intermedia in here, and that one does flower. I never tried it outside all winter because as I've listened to other YouTubers that grow it, it doesn't require that, and it actually needs a little warmth, but some cold, but definitely not freezing. Then it does like a good watering once a week. So I think it's due for its next watering, and it'll push out buds and flower magnificent. Alright, thanks for watching. This has been the update, and we'll see you again next time. Bye bye.